I know it's hard to believe that they follow the Lord Jesus Christ, our Savior.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
Do we need to pray?
No.
Oh, gosh. Hey, you know what? Speaking of like faith,
It's not even like, does it have venom? Does it not? It's like, snake.
He wore an itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini.
What does that have to do?
Oh wait, no, that was
what does that have to do with anything?
You know, dance a little. Like
Yeah.
that's what she wants. That's what's gonna light her.
You want some later?
Instead,
Warm the oven if they were married.
but
This
you
is a
could
Christian
tell, like
podcast.
she.
You ready? Let's get it. Absolutely not. That's oh boy. Who's got the intro?
You do.
I do.
So I need you to do an intro and then welcome Mikaela.
I got. Okay, let's do that.
Hello. Yeah. Too
She's
much
like,
of a pause.
The host is back.
Hey.
Yeah, the
Guess
host
who's
is back.
Back again.
Oh jeez. This
Kayla's
so
back.
I'm Shady.
Tell a friend.
Yeah, tell your friends. Michaela's
Tell
back.
your friends. I'm back.
Welcome back to another episode of That's How You Feel. Today I'm just a guest, so because
just a guest.
obviously the real host is
The
here.
real host has arrived.
The real host is back.
Real quick though, you're gonna hate this so much.
Oh shit.
What now?
We just got a package. We just got a package.
We just got a package. Wonder who it's from.
What the hell was that?
Clearly, we both grew up on Blue's Clues.
So, a company has sent you a package, Caleb.
Okay.
A care
So
package in response to our Kiwi
What do you
video.
think it is? Caramel?
I think it's karma in a pack.
Caramel.
It might be karma.
Remember that time?
So shout out to the brand that sent this to us. What's the brand name?
Zespri.
Zespri. This is so incredible.
Wow, what is this?
Oh, look at the bag. That's awesome. So, did
OMG. I see
Zespri.
some
you
kiwi
low
socks
key?
in
I
there.
want those socks.
Zespri they reached out to us. It was like, hey, can we send you some
Kiwi.
items? The kiwi.
You watched the Kiwi video, right? You know about what?
Michaela doesn't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's
he
okay.
went viral for like he's getting hated
It's
on
okay.
the internet.
This is so incredible. Oh my goodness.
But you love kiwi.
Can you put the hat on now?
But I did see that in the comments somewhere, but I was just like, I don't know.
Well, watch
And then
this
they
week's
also
episode.
sent
You'll
me
know.
some green sunglasses.
Okay,
Pop
but those
those on.
socks are fly.
I know. I low key might steal the socks.
Okay, low key, the green sunglasses too.
You gotta
I
be
feel
saying
like
low
you'd
key
wear
now. That's
these.
gonna be another like phrase.
Low key.
I love how my slang is like, oh yeah, these. Oh my goodness, this is incredible.
Oh, they
Those
even say
are
the
some
name on
pickleball
them.
socks if I've ever seen them.
Zespri. So-
Maybe we could get Zespri to sponsor our pickleball team.
They've done enough right here. Thank you.
We
guys.
would wear those socks.
Zespri,
to our
thank you.
pickleball games.
They have delicious kiwis, as you saw from our previous episode. I eat them. I don't even peel them. I
he
just,
Oh, you ate this kiwi on the
Oh, he
Yeah,
eats the
on the
skin.
set though.
yeah, I bite into the kiwi.
I know about you,
I don't even warm up
but I
to
didn't know
it.
you did it right here.
I made him.
You
Well, I
know?
didn't make him, but
So Zespri, thank you for sending this. I really do love your kiwis. I'm not just saying that. I really do enjoy them.
no, it's funny because when they had reached out to us, we told you about that. Didn't you go to your fridge to look at the label?
I was like, wait, hold on a second. What brand is this?
And it was
Like,
Zespri.
Bag though, is
So,
this like a laundry bag?
Zespri, thank you so much
I know
for
that's what I
sending
was
this.
thinking.
You guys are great. That's awesome. That's
We just
good.
got a package.
You should put one of put the cup up here or something.
Oh yeah. Sure.
This episode is sponsored by Zespri Kiwis. Get them at Costco. They're on sale.
You
I've
can
heard.
find them at Costco. They're
Are they on sale right now?
Huh?
The golden kiwis are on sale.
Golden kiwis, they're on sale.
I can't
I
wait
have a
for
few
you
questions
after
for
this
sales.
episode to watch that and see all the hate Caleb has gotten.
Aw.
It's
Like, it's-
you know,
it's-
you should almost take a break, go watch the video, and then come back.
It's like 1 million views. And Caleb, nothing but, well,
hate.
there's people on Caleb's side too.
Here's
but
the
mainly,
last thing I'm gonna say about this bit.
He's known as Costco Kiwi guy.
We're both
I am-
Costco fans. But I'm
I
kind of
think
sad.
I still think I was wrong for that. I do think though that I am a great communicator because I am wildly honest when I communicate with people. I don't lie, I don't sugarcoat nothing, and I don't drop hints at all. like, remember how last week when you were talking about how you were like, hey, we should get some like popcorn or something? But you were like, you asked her, do you want to get popcorn when it was you that wanted the popcorn?
Correct. Yeah, I
And
referenced
see,
that
what
whole
I
thing.
do is if I want popcorn, I'm not going to ask anybody, do y'all want popcorn? I'm going to say, I want popcorn
No, I
because that's
understand.
clear.
And that's in Caleb's world.
This
but
feels
here's
like
the
very
thing.
attacking.
In the
I
world,
got angry about this
I know.
on the way over here.
real quick though, in the world we live in, there are a million different personality types.
Thank you.
And
for
we
saying
ain't all
that.
living in Caleb's world. And so sometimes you may
It's
have
a
to adapt.
shame, isn't it?
Thank God we ain't living in
Like
Caleb.
my
Praise the
my
Lord.
spouse she'll
I
say,
feel like we need to
"Hey,"
go to therapy.
We do.
Will you be our therapist today?
I'm feeling that I need to be the therapist
Like, my
today.
spouse will be like, "Hey, do you want to get ice cream?" And I'm like, "Do you want ice cream?" She's
I
like,
understand
"Only if
that.
you want ice cream." I'm like,
I
"Just
understand
don't,
that.
you don't need me to
My
get."
family is like that. All on vacation. It was lots of like, would you like to go? Or do you want to go over there to that store? I said, no,
think
but I
it's
know that
everybody
you
like dropping
do.
hints because
No, well, I think
hey, y'all don't
sometimes,
feel like
specifically with your wife, we talked about this.
I know
I
you
think
do.
sometimes she wants to know you're interested in things too, or wants to do things with you and not drag you to it. Actually, I have a rant later about that. Actually,
all right, let's move. That's all I'm gonna say about it. I'm a very clear community. I
But
ain't never lied
Good
to
thing
y'all.
we're going to be talking about Jesus today.
Shout out
'cause
to
we gonna-
Zespri.
We going to need some Jesus up in here.
All right.
The tension is so.
So yeah, like
as
I said,
always,
thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's get that out the way. Michaela's back. Let's go to some.
he's nervous. He's got that nervous energy.
I'm not nervous. I'm just,
All right, we're not doing this today.
All right, so we want to go to some comments from our last episode. So on the Kiwis video,
Yep.
this was from the Joel Driscoll. I love that people finally get to see the real you, friggin' bully. After all you just said. And that's coming from your best friend.
I got to
don't-
go run this back. I need to give my own hot take because I am also an honest person. So I will decide whether or not this was bullying.
No, it's more about indirect. We talked about it last week, but direct communication. But people took it.
You ain't gonna hear me
Husband
say the
versus
word kiwi
wife,
again.
weaponized incompetence, all this stuff.
You say what you need to say.
But shout out to Zespri though for sending us.
Yeah,
the
for
care
sure,
package.
for real. Airplane. This was in regards to my rant on the airplane seats.
Mm-hmm.
Middle seat gets both. It's the law.
If you're on a plane,
Armrest.
armrest.
100%.
Yes. Well, the world needs to know that because I'm tired of being like this because I'm too nice to tell people to F off.
You know, that's what you get for booking like Southwest though.
Chad
Like,
has like really showed up today. You know what I mean?
Chad is here.
Fully present.
Full effect. This next one. So you pulled the comments, and I'm dying that you pulled this one because I saw this and I
The
laughed
energy
when I
is
saw it.
energy.
So this
yeah.
was in regards
Chad needs to
to
break.
my favorite, favorite MCU movies, or like who should have a movie. And this comment comes from KU
Kubliak?
K Blue Kyle.
Kubli Kyle.
This guy is dying for black people to like him.
Said that.
It's about me.
You know, honestly though, when I read it, I didn't know who he was talking about. I was like, maybe he's talking about Levi because I was like, I don't know, but yeah,
I think it's funny. And
Dying
no.
for black people to like you is crazy.
Yeah, apparently.
because like yeah.
It's like you've done
Because
some
he's like,
actions.
what?
If you didn't know
Go
who
on.
you were, if you didn't know who you like, you would think because we've talked about like Run It Black.
Well,
and
and
like,
in that show, I was saying how they need about Miles Morales being left out, but also I had
they're like he's advocating too hard.
my thing was that I just finished the Miles Morales video game, so I was like on a Miles Morales high.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you, Cable Kyle. Get a better Instagram handle or whatever.
Kublai Kyle. Kublai.
This actually comes from our host today,
Mm-hmm.
Mikaela Gibbs 4107.
I actually don't even know what those numbers
This was
are.
actually on our episode on suicide.
birthday.
And it says, I grew up in a church where anxiety, depression, and suicide were shamed until my pastor himself committed suicide. Then we were all forced to talk about what was once supposed to send you to hell. I am a fan of the church addressing mental health. It is definitely on the up. And I agree. I do think we are coming to a place in church culture, society, not
Yeah,
culture,
we're talking about
society.
some things.
But yeah, like you're starting to really dive into like mental health and all those topics where instead of like we don't talk about that or you
Yeah.
go to hell essentially.
Well, and then in like a lot of contexts, it was like faith covers that. So like you don't need to say sorry. You don't need to talk about your trauma. Like once you took that to the altar, Jesus' blood washed that away.
Not emotionally.
We need to say sorry, right?
Yeah.
You weren't
So
allowed
I'm
to
glad
have
we're talking
mental
about it.
illness.
Yeah, I thought that was really good though. That whole episode, if you haven't got a chance to check it out, definitely recommend it. It's we had one of my chaplains from my company. She came on. She's a suicide survivor. Speak on suicide and in a really, really wise and well worded way. And so, I think it's definitely an episode that is. You crossing your legs with your ankles out?
He's got lotion on.
So let's go into the question of the day.
Question of the day.
Oh, okay. So I was thinking about this the other day because I saw a snake in my yard. If you found out you were suddenly like venom would not affect you. I don't know how I worded the question, but if you found out you were immune to
all
snake venom,
yep.
would you still be afraid of snakes?
It's like the snake itself that's scary.
Yeah, but like even if it
It's
bites
not
you,
even like, does it have venom? Does it not? It's like, snake.
Pretty much.
Like it's like the slither part. It's just like
I don't like things that
snakes
can
in life,
like,
snakes in
come at you
people.
fast or like
Yeah.
that's why I don't like frogs. I don't like
Me
when they
either.
hop at you.
Yeah, me either.
Okay.
It's not about getting bit. It's about being afraid
I mean,
of the snake.
I would feel happier knowing that if I got a snake bite, I wouldn't have to be like, is this the venomous one? Am I gonna die? But I still don't want to be around snakes. Also, I think people that have pet snakes and like hold them, like
That is a little
lot.
weird.
yeah.
If you had to be dumped into a sitcom family, what sitcom family would you want to be dumped into?
King of the Hill.
You want to be part of? You want to be Hank Hill's son?
Just kidding.
Goodness gracious,
The Simpsons.
that's even worse.
Family Guy.
Even worse.
I just thought of all animated ones.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Those aren't my answers. I was just.
I mean, I love all those shows, but
What about you? Got one?
I should have thought of this a little harder.
I know. I meant to.
what did you
I'm
have
like-
something off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, but I don't know why.
What is it?
I'm like, everybody hates Chris, but like, why would I want to be in that? That's false. That's false.
That is such a
But
good
for some
answer.
reason, like, I don't want to admit the one that I'm not thinking of off the top of my head.
Like,
Well,
there's
now
one
you have to.
there's
Will
one you
Smith.
want.
I can't really
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I couldn't remember
Okay.
the title.
You want to be a Banks?
Yeah. I definitely, could take on some of those outfits
I mean, hey.
and be a part
That's
of
a
the
solid
fam.
choice.
You got one, Caleb?
Oh yeah,
What is it?
I'd want to be a Huxtable.
Mm.
Cosby Show, yeah.
He was like, huh?
The Huxtables, they were on the Cosby. That was
I
the
didn't watch the
family.
Cosby Show.
That was the family.
He doesn't want to be black that hard.
Oh,
Did I just get my card revoked?
No, that's
No.
okay.
I never had one.
We just wanted to like let that person know like you're not a tryhard.
Thank you. Thank you. Kyle.
Kubliak, whatever. Anyway, do you have a sitcom, Levi, you want to get dumped into?
I should have thought about this harder.
Shameless,
That's funny though. Could you
Married with
imagine?
Children.
I have seen that. It's been a while.
What about like wife swap?
Oh jeez.
I was thinking it's probably one people haven't seen, and I don't know that I want to like dive into it, but it's just like one of my favorite shows. It's called Parenthood. You probably never heard of that show.
I feel like I've heard of it.
There's a one with about a black family. It's by Robert Townsend.
He was
I can see
Blackish.
that
I
one.
could be on that too.
Blackish would be.
I really
I
miss
thought that's
that.
what he was going to say.
I really
honestly.
love Tracy.
I
Ellis.
love Blackish, but if I was gonna pick a family to get dumped into, the Cosby Show.
that 70s show.
You're not picking good families to get dumped into. Like, okay, so then the opposite is, which family would you hate to get dumped into?
The Brady Bunch.
I guess that would be Everybody Hates Chris. That was just a very unfortunate life.
I would say the family like on Shameless because like they're living like low key in squalor.
Yeah, and crime and everything.
Definitely like also the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
Like I'm good.
yeah.
There's a lot going on there. I'm good.
I wish I would have thought about this harder though. Like done some. I didn't research this question like I meant to. I did everything else but this one.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. All right, we got one. I got one more that I thought of. How long do you keep greeting?
You lied! You're so dumb.
I've been thinking on this one for some time.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
How long do you keep cards?
This is honestly it's a little mean.
Ooh.
It depends on who gave me the card.
Ooh. Well, that if there's like nothing written in the card, likely I'll keep it maybe for a year, and then I'm probably gonna get rid of it.
Like I have birthday
It's
cards.
gotta have
from
some
back,
words in there.
I had birthday cards from back when I turned like 19.
Yeah,
And
my mom's
like
probably got some.
there was one that was like handmade. Like all of my friends like signed it. I
Oh,
have
that's
those.
beautiful.
That's about 30 years ago, so that's a while.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It depends on who's made it. Like I have a shoebox like full of like cards that like every like when I see the shoebox and like pull it out, I'll go through them all and like look at them and then
I
like
feel that.
Yeah.
In college, they were really good at like writing us intentional cards,
Mhm.
like the girls in the dorm.
Oh, nice.
Like they would literally just like write tons of words of affirmation. So I do that same thing. I'm like, let's go back to college. Let's see what these people were saying about me.
I'd have to go through some boxes, but I keep almost every card, no matter what's written on it.
really.
I
I
do.
do, I
Like,
guess,
there's
now.
some from my 10th birthday I still have.
Wow.
Dang.
Like, yeah.
But then there's cards that I've gotten that I'm like, thanks. And then
Do you remember?
I feel a little bad, but like that card is in the garbage within the hour.
Do you remember on those,
It doesn't
those
say
dial-up
anything.
computers? But do you remember the program where like my grandparents did this, where they could make their own cards? It was like a
Dial-up.
thing.
Yeah.
And so for every birthday, my nanny always like had to print it out. Like it was a card, but she had designed it herself. Well,
Yeah.
there were designs, and then just put it in there. Yeah.
You keep
You
those?
you know what I'm talking about? I have some somewhere.
I have a
In
friend
that
of mine
storage
that,
room back there somewhere.
You're nostalgic.
I have a
Yeah.
friend that made me a birthday card. I still have it.
Yeah.
It's
love
beautiful.
that.
Did
Never
you
get
throw
rid
my
of it.
birthday card away?
Uh,
No, that
probably.
No, that was the one that you thought my kids vandalized.
I probably threw it away.
The Hogwarts one.
I probably threw it away.
I will throat punch you right now.
I'm gonna go home and look for it, but I think I threw it away.
I
He
know
doesn't
you
mean
lying.
it.
I'll send you a photo of it. If it is where I think it is, then I didn't throw it away. But if it's not where I think it is, I threw it away.
I just gave that to you.
Yeah, that was just yesterday.
I said
or like just last week.
I said it depends on who gave me the card. That was like the first thing I said.
Are you gonna throw my card away?
Absolutely not.
Oh, that's really messed up. Huh?
I said it depends on who gave me the card and
You
what's
lucky
in it.
you lucky
All right,
Jesus
today
is coming in this
we are
episode.
talking about
Jesus saved your
these
life
guys'
today.
faith story. I know it's hard to believe that they follow the Lord Jesus Christ, our Savior,
Oh, that's embarrassing.
Yeah,
because
you
they
are.
fight a lot. They're not being like good brothers in Christ, walking in love. Do we need to pray?
No.
Oh gosh. Hey, you know what? Speaking of like faith, it's like it's not easy to
They're
tell.
wild. Both said no.
No,
This is like your kids, like y'all. We gonna pray.
Mm-mm.
Y'all need Jesus.
One time
we
I
need
was
to bring
at
him in here. Lord.
Dear Heavenly Father.
one time I was at work
We just asked
and
that you would come into this place.
I had this coworker who came to me and she was like, you know,
Bless my
Dave was
brothers.
talking about you. And I was like, what did Dave say about me? He said, you know, Caleb would make a really good Christian. And this I was like, all right, okay. This was like 10 years ago though. I was like, okay.
It's
that's-
like the
that's what's up.
asterisk would make.
You know I got squirrel brain. Real quick before we jump into the topic.
Quit announcing your squirrel brain, but go on.
Shut up. So I was at church Sunday and someone came up to me. His name's Josh, and he's like, "Hey, I saw your video on TikTok." I thought he was going to talk about the Kiwi video. He didn't. He said about the KC stadiums.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, pointed to his wife, and he's like, "Hey, isn't this the guy that sings at church?" And she's like, "I don't know." So he asked his son, and his son was like, "Oh yeah, that's him." But that was cool. Got recognized. Wasn't even for Kiwis.
Just real quick though, if you bring up past episodes, don't look at Mikaela because she is not up to date. Just,
I'm courteous of our guest on this
He just wants to
platform.
include me. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I understand that you want to include her, but she's got no idea what's going on. If you bring up,
I
old-
watch
Well, neither do
a
you
handful
most
of
of the
the
time.
episodes if it relates to my life.
We need Jesus.
Yeah, you do.
Lead us into.
Lord God.
Oh my gosh.
No, we invite the Lord into this space as you guys share with your faith story with us. We need Jesus. Y'all need Jesus. Y'all need to stop looking like
Listen,
that.
I love Jesus, but
All
I might
right.
cuss a little.
Okay, I mean that's okay. Jesus loves you. Just
Half
as
hood,
you
half
are.
holy.
Is
Go
it
on.
okay? Did you say is it okay? Let's not even get into those topics.
Hmm.
Okay, so today I am the host. I'm gonna be talking to these lovely men about their faith journey.
Is he making faces?
I'm just out here trying to like channel a good spirit on this set because they've got a little bit of strife going on, but we're gonna come to and talk about Jesus.
I mean, he gonna catch me outside real
This
quick.
is the first episode where it's really been kind of like something on faith, right?
Yeah, so we're actually going to
This is part 1.
Yeah, so we're going to do multiple parts. So we wanted to kind of start this. It's not a series, but start this series of talking about our faith, and then we're going to go into some topics about church and then deconstructing faith. There's a couple other ones too. So I just think it's really important to both of us.
Yeah.
I know you as well, and so I think it's really cool to be able to talk about it on a public platform.
Yeah. I think that's cool
Maybe
that
I'll
it
learn.
will open it up to other people also outside of the faith.
Yeah.
Because it's really just your guys' stories.
Yeah, and maybe I'll learn that Caleb can be a good person.
Maybe we'll get to that today. So the first question here is, when and how did you first come to know Christ? Caleb?
Which time?
Do you want me to go first or do you want to go first?
Ladies first, go ahead.
All right. So I will say that I don't, with Envy, I don't have like a come to Jesus moment. I don't have I was sitting at a conference and I decided to give my life over. I didn't do that. As my first recollections, my first memories are me in church. So there was never like a time where I was like, I'm going to follow the Lord today. I'm going to make this decision. It was just, I grew up in church. It's all I ever know.
You never said like the salvation prayer.
Well, I've said that prayer at least 20 or 30 times.
Right. When did it like hit where you're like,
I don't know.
Okay.
I just remember like, I remember like I raised my hand because at churches, they were always like, if anybody doesn't know where they're going to go when they die, I'm like, I still don't know. And so like, I gave my life to Christ like 13, 14, 15 times. And I remember like one of the last times I was like maybe 15 or 14 and the preacher was preaching hellfire and brimstone. And I got scared again. And I was like, I don't know where I'm going when I die. And my mom was like, if you don't put your hand down, you've already done this before. My mom was sick of it.
I understand.
My mom was
there
sick
are
of my
always
salvations.
those kids that are like, and I think I need to get saved again.
Yeah.
And I think I need to get, I mean,
Every
sometimes
time.
though, the prayer is so convincing that you're like,
I think
I need to be saved
the
again?
last time I gave my life to Christ, I was probably 22.
Last week?
I was probably 20 or 22 years old.
Yeah.
I was
So
like,
would you
know
say
what?
that
I still
was?
don't know.
Oh, okay. So do you think that time, like, because you were going into like maturity and adulthood,
No, that time I was still. I was guilt tripped into fear and like I was afraid of like.
So I guess when did you decide to follow Christ, like out of your own volition? Like where you're like, you know what, I'm actually going to be serious about this.
With a
thing.
servant's heart.
I really actually want to like read my Bible and like follow the Lord. Not just because I'm forced to, not because I'm scared to.
I don't know if that moment has ever happened. I don't think I don't think it's ever been.
Have you been baptized?
Yeah, but again, I was baptized when I was like 8 or 9 years old.
So you never got baptized again as an adult?
No, my dad was like, "Hey, y'all are getting baptized today," and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And I never felt the need to go, you know what? Maybe that should be like my choice one of these days. I've thought about it. I've toyed with it, but I was like, nah, I don't care enough. Like I'm gonna just let that one be the one, and I'm gonna just move on with my life. Like just because I don't feel like I don't feel like it's important. I don't think it's one of the key factors of salvation. I think it's a sign, but I don't think it's like it's not salvation altering to me. These are my opinions.
No, and I think baptism is a tricky thing because I went through that too. I've been baptized twice, but I remember the first time I was a young kid, and now that I'm adult, like now that I truly understand what the concept of baptism is and what the meaning of it is, like I kind of want to get baptized again. I'm not, I'm not going to, but I mean,
so you've been baptized. You got baptized twice as a kid?
No, once as a kid and once as like a
teenager.
I was a teenager.
Yeah,
that was with my mom and stepdad.
So yeah, but
I
finish
got baptized
answering...
again. I did. Because
that's good for you.
I did it when I was on a missions trip in Africa. I was like, this is kind of a cool place to get baptized. But also,
he was doing it for the clout.
No, I was like, I genuinely felt like a shift in myself of like, I truly like, this is a decision that like, I really do want to like go public and like say unto the Lord and like outwardly to others, like, I'm not going to turn my back on this.
Yeah.
This is what I want. This is the life I'm choosing to like follow the Lord. And it was like my own decision.
Yeah. I think that is something like I want to consider in my kids. Like I can't wait for the day where I get to like my kids, I get to help baptize them or they get baptized. But I also like, there's a deeper meaning to it that I don't think you really understand until you're a little older.
Absolutely. But it is cool to see them interested in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
You don't want to deny that of them.
Right. Well, and I would say, like,
baptized.
for me growing up, we didn't go to church every Sunday, but my family, it was like I always just knew God. I knew Christ, and we went to church like multiple times, but it wasn't consistent.
Gotcha.
I do remember we would go to these. It was called Glory of Fire or something like that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, but it sounds like something real charismatic.
It was one of those like plays, and it was like about how Jesus' death and then the devil.
Would you like? There's like a Hell's Flames.
Yeah, and then
I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was.
There was an era of
and
that.
It was a call to Christ at the end. So I remember that a couple times. But I know I got saved multiple times, like Caleb. You know, like I don't know how many times, but I do remember at one of those events one time. I was at this church and this kid, Michael, came up to me and he was like, hey, do you want to go down there with me? Because they had done a call to save. And I was like, oh, yeah. Like, because I was thinking he needed someone to go with him. He thought I wasn't saved. And so he wanted me to go.
That poor communication. He was like, hey, do you want to go down? Like, see?
Yeah. And so I was sitting there and I realized, like,
is this my decision?
Yeah, they're doing this salvation thing. And I'm like,
He's
I already done this. Like, I'm good.
He starts praying for you. That's rough. He's like, and I pray, Lord, that Levi would find you.
I
my
guess
gosh.
so. You know,
That's
but
wild.
I will say church became really important to me in my youth when I was in youth group because I started consistently going.
Yeah.
It was always a big thing in our family. We always prayed before, like, family dinners, all that stuff. But it was never something where like I wasn't in every Sunday church goer.
But you went to youth group consistently.
As of my like junior, sophomore year.
Okay.
Of high school or
Of high school.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, that's if I were to say like when I started to take it relatively serious, like was like high school, like
yeah.
sophomore, junior year of high school. Don't get me wrong. I don't say that to say I started taking my faith seriously and then I started behaving. No, I started taking my faith seriously and then really started misbehaving.
No, and I'm going to
whole lot.
save some of my answer for one of the questions later too, because there was a time where I can for sure, it's when I actually started leading worship is when I actually came back and like I have been on fire for God ever since then. And he's been at the forefront of everything. He always has been. And I'm glad
you
that
actually made that decision.
Yeah. And I'm glad that was instilled in me.
Yeah. So was there any one person that has like shaped your faith journey?
For me, there was my youth pastor when I was like in high school. His name was Anthony Sanders. He was like the first person that he was young. And he let me ask questions. He let me challenge. And then he put me in a position to like, hey, I want you to lead this week's like Bible study. I want you to like preach on a Wednesday. I want you to like lead worship. I want you to do all these things. Like he put me in these positions of leadership to help me take it more seriously. Cause like in youth groups, you can tell there are people who are there to see friends and there are people who are there to actually learn and to like take their faith a little deeper. I happen to be on the latter. Like I had friends there, but like I was actually one that like I was one of the few that actually like was there for
You're on the front
Jesus.
row with your
I was not on
Bible
the
and
front
your
row,
journal,
but he could tell I cared.
taking notes.
I was kind of. So yeah, but like he was.
I was one of those too.
Yeah, Anthony
taker.
Sanders
I
was
like,
like
I'm serious about this Jesus thing.
He knew I was like kind of serious, and so he would like say, "Hey, would you mind preaching this for like during Sunday school? Would you mind like leading that, or would you do sorts of things?" So I had like weekly sometimes meetings with him, and
That's
so
awesome.
he was one of the people like early on that helped shape my faith. Also, my father. I would be remiss if I didn't mention my dad.
Yeah. Oh Lord, therapy. So the first person that came to mind was this guy named Sean. He was one of my youth group leaders. He wasn't the pastor, but he's one of my youth group leaders. But it was more so for the fact of when I came back to church, I had made the decision that I was going to go to church no matter what, even if I was sitting by myself. And that's how it was for a few weeks. I was sitting by myself. He finally saw me and he like came over and invited me to a small group. And that's kind of what led to some, my expansion of my growth for Christ. But I mean, there is also Sandy Sharon. She was one when I was in middle school. She was my youth group leader. She was a big part of my growth, especially at my time in the time I was in life, because I was being bullied really heavily during that time. Didn't have a lot of friends, lots of people, hating on me, of course. Haters gonna hate.
Haters gonna hate. Haters gonna
But
potate.
her and her family and that whole youth group, like, really staying around that helped center me through that time, which I do believe was God's gentle, guidance through that. And then because that I am big into worship. Oh, I thought he was laughing because I was mentioning another person. Well, he's like, okay,
And
here's the book.
I'm just existing over here.
He's like, he got the 12 disciples over here.
Hey,
No, I was
whoever
going to mention
shaped
some
you.
other people too, like later
Well,
on.
yeah,
Go
and I was
ahead.
going to say, and Joel is another one that's been big for me because he has been a mentor to me since I first started leading worship. Because right when I started, he started at my church a month later. And so he has taught me a lot of things and challenged me to grow in worship. And so I actually had another person, Amy V.
This is crazy.
I know, no, but I remember Amy V.
One too many.
I know. Amy V one time, she was like, I need to figure out what Joel does because if he tells you to do something, you just do it. Anyways, but
Yeah. Joel is later on in life later on in my years, Joel was one. Then there's this another guy named Tim Driller, Josh Driller's dad,
Yeah.
Tim Driller. And then another guy, not so much, but definitely someone that I was like, oh, this person is intelligent. His name's Dan Brown. He's just been somebody, if I was really like wrestling with something and I needed like some clarity, I would go to him and he would like, this dude knows like Hebrew and Greek and wealth of knowledge. And so he was one, he doesn't know it, but he is a mentor.
yeah.
I think I would say, when I just think off the top of my head, I would say my mom. And I think truthfully, it's like her consistency.
Yeah.
She just has always followed the Lord. And she's like always like relied on the Lord for things like to provide or pray about this, I mean, I can think of definitely different youth leaders and different people who have shaped me and kind of pushed me towards leadership. But when I really do think about it, I'm like, dang,
Yeah.
my mom has been so consistent. Like if she probably would have wavered somewhere in her faith, it probably would have shaken my ground. But because she was so
Strong and firm in it.
yeah, I was like, dang.
No, and that's true. I mean, honestly, like I had mentioned, we didn't go to church every Sunday. And I don't remember, like, obviously when I was super young, but I know my nanny was a big part, but my family obviously had to instill those values in me, So I do think your parents is a huge part of that and your grandparents.
So do you guys share your faith presently?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it scare you, or what are your or did it ever scare you?
I think it used to, because people can be quick to judge the fact that you're a Christian, but also the same goes the other way because there's been many Christians who have been quick to judge other people,
Right.
which is not what we are called to do.
Do you feel like you're like slick about it, or are you just like?
No,
Do you
I
know
believe
Jesus?
I believe actions speak louder than words.
Okay.
If I'm living my life in a way that exemplifies Christ's love as he would love me, I should love others. And
So then do you say it?
yeah, I
Do
talk
you-
about it openly.
Okay.
But I don't force a conversation on anybody if they're not ready.
Right.
Because that then can push them away. I had a best friend who was atheist when I first met her. And then she was agnostic. And I can remember the day, and she knew where I was the whole time. I can remember the day it was snowing outside when I lived in the trailer. And she had went for a walk because I let her come to me with questions.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna poke on her because that's a very sensitive thing. You don't know people's church hurt. You don't know their hurt in their life. And so I let her kind of lead that conversation, and she ended up getting saved that night. And I even got to baptize her, which was a huge full circle moment. And
Yeah.
she's still one of my best friends to this day.
That's beautiful.
So it's just that's an example I can give. I will be friends with anyone. They don't have to be a believer of Christ because I'm called to love and not judge and be an example, not be a judge. Not a judge because I just said judge, but accuser.
It's like a gavel.
Be an example, not an accuser.
What about you, kid?
What was the question?
He sounded like a real good Christian over here.
He is. I'm
He's
about to
like-
just blow that out the whole water. What's the question?
Right.
Are you scared to share your faith?
All the time.
Yeah. Why? Why do you feel that way?
It's fear of losing relationships. When I was young, when I was younger, and I mean like 10 years ago, I was as the phrase on fire. And I was outwardly sharing my faith and views on Facebook.
When was that? Did you say?
10 years ago, probably.
Okay, 10 years ago.
So I was like 30. So no, but there have been seasons where I was like very, very bold about my faith and posting Facebook statuses like, I can't believe y'all are living like this.
No, for real, it was like that. That's how you were getting them.
I look back on those with such embarrassment and such horror because there's no love there.
Yeah.
And that makes me so embarrassed.
Yeah.
Like,
when did that switch for you? Like, what was the moment that you realized that's not the way to reach people?
I have no idea. When I don't know when it changed, but it was, Facebook memories when I see all my old statuses.
Were you at like a different church at that point?
I don't think so. Maybe, probably.
Like a hell and fire.
No, it wasn't. Like I never went to those. Like I went to like revivals that were that, and those are where I gave my life to Christ at those spots. But so I'm always a little scared to share my faith unless someone asks me about it, and then I'm like, hey, I'm happy to talk about it with you, but I don't go around like evangelizing. Like I'm not gonna walk up, hey, do you know Jesus loves you? I'm not about to do that.
Yeah. Do you feel like there are ways though to just like talk about Jesus or like give him praise or glory for something in your life? Do you hesitate around that?
I think also that too. Like most of my friends happen to be Christian, so like for that I'm not worried about it. But like I have a few friends that like I know are the word I would use would be they have a little hostility towards like Jesus and the topic of faith, and so I really tiptoe around my faith around them just because I don't want that to be the reason where they're like, I don't want to hang out with you anymore. I want to love those people so much. And so
then
I don't preach I never preach at them. Like I had a conversation with a friend who wanted to talk about some things. And I was like, hey, look, I'm happy to answer you, but I want you to understand that the answers that I give you are going to come from a place of faith because that's where I sit in. And she was like, okay, great. That's why I want to ask you anyway. I was like, okay, cool. Then we can have this conversation because I just want you to know I'm not judging you. I'm just giving you my opinions based on what I believe. And so that's kind of like how I share my faith now. I just want to make sure that I love people well.
Yeah.
So,
and for like, just for an example, would you wear shirts referencing Bible verses or like God or anything like that? Because like I know I used to not want to, but I will now. Like, I feel like that's another.
I do.
Way.
I wear them, but again, sometimes I make a choice not to wear them because again, I want to pick my audience. If I'm going around someone that has like a hostile opinion about faith, I'm not gonna wear a shirt that says Jesus saves. Like, I'm just not doing that. Just because I don't want to. I'm not here to argue with you. And some of those friends I have, they're there to argue. They're there to like pick at you and like, and I'm not going to have that. I'm not going to buy into that. I'm not going to give you that opportunity to. So
do you guys ever use like your social media platform to like share about things that like God is doing in your life?
Yes, I'm very open like on my Facebook as far as like people know that I'm a worship leader. They know that I'm in church. I'm not afraid to mention God in my post. I don't want to overdo it again, just because I don't want to be like throwing it in people's face of like, especially if they're very uncomfortable with that. But I'm not afraid. I want people to know like where my heart is, and my heart is with Christ. The way you phrased that question though made me think, because I'm trying to think if there's times where I've actually been going through something in life
and shared it, and we're like,
shared,
this is what God did for me in this scenario.
And I don't know that, but like, because I'm more of an indirect person, I'm a hinter. And so
it's like something good's going on. Bet you won't guess who it is.
Go ahead.
I was going to say like, I used to share picture verses from the YouVersion app all the time. Sorry.
Why he's laughing?
Is it because of the church? We got?
Yeah, the YouVersion Bible app. Oh, jeez.
Because Life Church.
Yes.
So
This is the Bible app everyone's using.
but like
now.
whatever I was feeling, or like if I felt compelled by Christ by a Bible verse, I would post that as an image, and that would be my way, and not of sharing. But I don't know that I didn't put it in reference to like, man,
Your
God
life.
really spoke this into me because I was in a really dark place, and today I feel like this Bible verse really hit where I need, hit home for me.
How do you feel like that would be like a good approach to doing something like that, as far as sharing your faith?
Yeah. Again, I think it's you should never be scared to share your faith. So like if you
Look at me.
No, you told me to look both ways, so I'm just interacting with both. You should never be scared to share your faith.
So why in those moments do you just share the scripture and not like what's going on the inside?
And I think because it's me overall, I compartmentalize, and so I push a lot of things under, and I don't really outwardly tell people all of my feelings. And I think that's in every aspect of my life. This is what I'm literally processing this right now. So a lot of times I don't process what God's doing until because it takes me time. I just need to sit in it.
Yeah. Good thing you have some time and then you post on the social.
I know. And that's why, but you're right.
Yeah. Well, I can think specifically of a time where I think that you shared something like while we were at church, like during the worship, but it just seemed like there was some type of a shift in like your faith, or like something was going on in you. And like, I remember like you like got on your knees and were like worshiping the Lord. And I think you shared something personal. I feel like in that when you are scared to share your faith, one, it's if you're sharing it just like directly and it's like, do you know Jesus? It's super not personal. But when you add like your experience to it, I feel it is hard for people to say that your experience is false. So it's like, even if you choose not to receive what I'm saying, I'm sharing it with you in a way that like, this is how the Lord is doing something in my life.
Well, and we talked about it. Joel was actually the one that pushed me to do that.
Yeah.
Because it was actually
That Sunday.
The very first time I ever had to do it at Life Church, because we sometimes have these past like these moments before the song starts where we speak.
Yeah.
And Joel assigned it to me. And so I couldn't back out.
Right.
And
Joel said so. He listens to Joel.
Whenever I was talking to Joel, like he knew what I wanted to say. It's so funny. Joel knows what you want to say, but he waits for you to say it. And so I was sitting there with him before, because during practice,
like a good leader does.
Yeah, during practice, I would not practice it in live, and they were like, "Say what you're gonna say." I'm like, "Oh, I'm processing it right now," because I was so nervous. But it had to do with my brother who died.
Yeah.
And overcoming that. And I want to say the song was Waymaker. I could be wrong, but I referenced that. And so he was the one that pushed me to do that, which I think, because what I love about the church, especially worship, because worship is a huge part to me now that I'm in, is worship is so free. And so I can get on my knees and worship, because sometimes that's how you need to worship, you know? And I can show that while also worshiping, instead of just standing in one spot going,
yeah.
To you, Caleb.
What was the question?
I kind of have a different question.
Well, I interrupted you earlier.
As believers, do you feel like it is our mandate or like our call to like share our faith with others?
Yes, but I think it's gotten twisted in this world.
I agree with you. And to answer your question, yes. But I think that the technique is where a lot of the work needs to kind of change.
And I feel like it is changing.
Yeah, because like I think you asked Levi like how he shares his faith, or like I'm not. I don't like post like, oh, God is so good, I got the job. Like I'm not doing that. But I think that like, because I was looking at my Facebook post or my Instagram bio, and I used to have a Bible verse in there, but I took it out because I'm a heathen. But like when my son was born, like I made a post and put like a little scripture like in the post, Genesis 2:22, I think. The thing about like sharing your faith, to me, it has to do with relationships. I will not shame the people that are out on the streets evangelizing, because maybe that works.
That's a call. Like that's a gift.
Right.
Not Westboro.
Not again,
from
maybe
Topeka.
it works for them.
You're what?
I'm from Topeka.
Oh, I thought you
I
said
went to
I'm
school
friends
with those
with them.
kids.
Right. So
I
like,
was friendly towards them.
Yeah, yes.
We went to school together.
so for those people, like maybe that
have
works.
questions.
Maybe that gets
Right.
one in. I don't necessarily disagree with it, but that's not gonna be how I reach people. That's not
Right.
gonna be how I share
Yeah,
my
through
faith.
signs and like propaganda.
I try to look at the life of Jesus. God, I'm so nervous talking about this. So I try to look at the life of Jesus and how he lived and how he shared his faith, how he preached was a lot of relational work. Yeah, he met people's needs, but the intentional like relationship building was through discipleship and through these intentional like people that he spent time with.
Yeah.
And so
But you know, it's also interesting in that regard
Hmm.
is that he also spoke truth.
he did speak truth
that's like the
to people he
interesting-
had a relationship with.
When he met the woman at the well,
He didn't have a relationship with her, but he did not lie to her. He was very honest. He spoke directly. He had clear, honest communication
OMG, we're back to that.
to people.
The thing about that is that he still spoke truth, and I think
did.
I think we sometimes can skirt around. We can lean so heavy into relation that we forget to like also speak the truth.
Yeah,
I
that
agree.
is so good. Yes,
I
you're
agree.
correct.
Because I think we've come from
I'm not
growing up in our
patronizing you.
generation.
know,
we
but the way you
came, we
said
came
that.
it
I'm
from
sorry.
the hellfire
I'll
and
be
brimstone.
serious next time.
Yes.
Can I speak, Caleb?
Yes, I came from the same from
I'm
a
just
similar
kidding.
background.
I'm kidding. Put that mic back.
Do you think?
No, but
Levi's been
Do you
speaking.
think?
Levi. So we came from this background.
hellfire, brimstone churches.
Legalism,
You know.
religious.
And I think our generation has realized that does not work.
Yeah.
And I do not believe that works. I don't think you should shame people from the
Right.
pulpit.
That's definitely not how Jesus did it.
And so I think we often go to the far other side where we're like, I don't want to push anybody's buttons.
Yeah.
But I am going to love people
Yeah.
like Christ through my actions. And I fully believe in that. Now,
And I would argue though that I think we've gone from so far from legalism to so far this direction that we evade.
I agree because in this world, you don't want to say something wrong to offend anyone because everyone gets offended and you get canceled for it. And it's just, there's no end.
Yeah.
So you can't speak your truth without offending someone else.
But I think though, if it's your truth and you're not necessarily like attacking people where they are, like they can't invalidate what you're saying because it's
I
your
feel like
story.
that's a hard part of being a Christian these days though, because people, if you say you're a Christian and you speak your truth, if it is attached to being a Christian, they can very easily
I guess it
cancel
also
that out.
depends on what setting you are. So like on this platform, that is probably something that you're nervous about. Maybe is that what the nervous around sharing your faith?
Yeah, because the
Who's
second
listening?
that you say I'm a Christian, I think that people who are Christian begin to look at you different. They want to put you on a pedestal. They want to hold you to a higher standard. People who aren't Christian, people who are atheists, people who don't believe what you believe, I feel like they immediately feel like they're being attacked because the history of the Christian faith is what you're doing is wrong. And for me, and I feel like for me to say I'm a Christian flat out is sometimes calling what the person who doesn't believe you're a bad person. Like even like the invite to church, I am so worried about inviting people to church because people take the invitation as you need to get your life better and church is where you're going to do that at. Or I see something in you that needs to change. And that's not what I want to do. I don't want to tell people who don't believe that they need to get their life together because that's not, in my opinion, that's not what I think I'm called to do.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't
invite them from a place of love. I think that's where I guess the whole thing about sharing your faith, I think it all comes down to like being relational and listening and trying to understand.
Isn't that what I said earlier? Boom.
That is communication, right? Communicating it clearly to them. But I think the more we like, just again, like kind of get skirting around, like, I don't want to invite you to church because I don't want to hurt your feelings because I don't want you to think that maybe I think bad of you. I think that there's like, we're almost doing people a disservice. I don't want to say everyone, but people who you know could benefit from something that you've gotten from your experience at church. I think that we do people a disservice to like not share or not to be like,
I completely
hey,
agree.
I've gone to this service and for me, like, I know, like, when I'm going through a hard time, I can specifically think of a church that I would invite people to, and I don't even go there anymore. It's where I used to go. But I know that church brought so much healing for me in a season that the moment that I see someone or am having a conversation with someone that I've known, I'm like, you're going through something hard. I know a safe place for you to take all of this, all of what you're feeling, and like maybe try out this community and like see what it would do for you. And not that I'm saying, you need to change, et cetera, but I can specifically think of a time where I did that recently with a friend who's like going through a divorce. And it was just like a really messy situation, but I knew immediately like, hey, this would be a safe place for you. I got a lot of healing from this place, and I'll even go with you. I don't attend there anymore, but I'm like, I'll go with you.
Yeah.
So that we can be there and you can,
And I think I completely agree. I think what's happened, because I love having, when I talk about my faith, it comes from a place where I'm not judging.
Right.
Because I want to have an open conversation. I want to hear your story. I want to hear what you believe. And I'm not going to judge you. I don't want you to judge me.
Right.
But I feel like with social media and the culture we're in, that kind of touch on what you were saying, like when you say you're a Christian, people then transfer their own guilt, whether that's based on church hurt or things that have happened to them. And because you say you're Christian, they tie you to the hellfire and brimstone, which is not who I am.
Yeah.
And then see me in those eyes.
Yeah,
and then I feel like it transfers to me where I feel guilty and I can't share my...
Yeah, I feel guilty for being a Christian around you. Like, they're like, I'm a Christian. Oh, do you think I'm going to hell? I'm like, I didn't say that.
But I think it's good because like we do need to push ourselves to grow, to always grow in your faith. Didn't mean to cut you off. I always, in my mindset, is if you are comfortable in your faith, you should never be comfortable. You should always be a little bit uncomfortable trying to learn something new.
Right.
Well, this is good because I'm actively uncomfortable.
In your faith?
Not in my faith, but in sharing it and talking about this.
Yeah.
This episode is hard for me.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're like growing in that, or it's just like this is just uncomfortable?
This is uncomfortable.
Yeah. That's real.
No, it's good though, because I think it pushes us to think about what we do, how we share, and that's the purpose of
Funny you
podcasts
bring
like
me
this.
on here, right?
Yeah.
I'm a big sharer.
Boy.
I do want to get to your next question. Are
you the host?
Call them.
He wants to get to my next question. Have you ever walked away from your faith?
No.
Yes.
You have?
Oh, no. Like, not where I didn't believe in God, but I have walked away. So this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. After high school, I quit going to church and I started drinking really bad. I was smoking cigarettes at the time, just doing whatever. I would, constantly going out to bars, partying, and I left church for a good 3 years. And that's, again, this was also the time I was friends with my friend Brandy, who I then baptized. And so I was still able to share my faith as far as actions and stuff. And she knew I loved Christ and all that and was, believed in God. But I was not living a life that was showing that. And so I then made the decision where I was going to go back to church, whether I was sitting alone. And that's when Sean happened to find me and was like, hey, come to small group. That small group ended up being with the worship and tech team. And so someone knew that I had auditioned for American Idol and they're like, hey, you want to try out for worship? And I was like, no, I don't want to sing on stage. Push comes to shove. They got me to audition to the youth band. And then,
Started leading in that
So,
way.
I mean, I wouldn't say I walked away from my faith, but I definitely walked away from, and I'm not saying all those things are bad, but I think when you're not, I think if you're getting drunk every day or if you're getting drunk and all that stuff, but.
You believe what the Bible says.
Yeah.
About that.
I would say I've never walked away, but there have been periods in my life where I was like, I don't think I ever missed a Sunday unless I had to, or I was physically incapable of going. But Sunday, I was like, yeah, I'm a Christian on Sunday. But then Monday through Saturday, you couldn't tell at all.
Yeah.
And even when I was doing that, it was I still knew you ain't supposed to be doing this right now.
Right.
But it's still, there was never a moment where I was like, I don't believe in God anymore. I question myself all the time. I question my own faith all the time. But I can't say that there was like a moment or like a period of time where I was like, I don't believe, or I'm not going to participate in church or Jesus. But there was some time in my life where I was acting a fool.
Yeah. What do you feel like led you to acting a fool? Like, was it out of like hurt or like something that happened in your life?
No, I never like was like, I'm going to rebel
You were
and
just
like
like,
do
this
my
is
own
what I
thing.
wanna
This
do.
is just like the opportunity to to act up presented itself. And I was like, let's get it. So,
Well, and I could be.
That's real. It's
There's
enticing.
mine for me was right after high school, and statistically, we'll have to get the actual statistics, but it's about 80% of people in youth leave church after. And so I was a statistic at that point. Where I left going to church, I was living my own life. I got to choose what I wanted to do.
Right.
I worked now full time. I didn't want to get up on Sunday morning
Yeah.
and go to church. No, I wanted to party Saturday night with my friends, have a blast, sleep in Sunday, get ready for work on Monday, until I really realized like it was not. I was in a deeper, darker depression in those moments, not just because I wasn't being filled by Christ.
Right.
I wasn't filling my cup.
see, I wasn't out like partying. Like I went to parties, but like I was the lame. I was like the DD. Like
I've never been to a party, but like, I would have my group over.
Yeah.
And if like I had this white cabinet, I remember bottom shelf, liquor bottles. You wanted to go to liquor store, come over.
That's funny.
I
wasn't.
He's that
I
guy.
never did like the drugs or like the drinking. Like the drugs. I'm sorry, but like I never did those. Like I never like.
You never leaned in hard to any of that stuff. Yeah.
Drugs never like really enticed me. Mine was like pornography and sex.
Yeah.
Like I was a little slut out here. Anybody could get it, and but again, I was at church on Sunday though. Like you didn't know, and like you still can't. You couldn't beat me in Bible trivia. Like I had all the telltale signs of that guy's following the Lord, but
you were deep in your own
Saturday
sin.
night, who knows whose bed I was in? I was out there.
Okay, so the next question, I feel like we've kind of touched on this a bit about friendships, but I guess what is the benefit or what do you feel like it adds to your life, like having friends who either believe or don't believe in the Lord?
I will say when I am around people who I know like are Christ followers, my guard is completely down and I am fully comfortable because I can openly
anyone
talk.
who like believes in the Lord.
I mean, people like that are friends. I mean,
okay.
I wouldn't say anyone. If anyone that believes in the Lord, yes, I'm definitely more open to like talking about it, or like going into how I felt about the sermon or, or what worship songs I like or stuff like that. But I do know like when other people come up, that's when I wouldn't say guarded's a word because I don't ever feel like I'm got to be like tense.
Yeah.
Because again, I want to love people where they are.
Yeah.
And I want to hear
But
their
you also
story.
don't want to offend them.
I don't want to offend them.
So you're thinking about what you're saying before you're saying it.
I don't think I have to do it. This sounds really bad. I don't have.
Well, you compartmentalize, and you did say that you do that.
Yeah, but when I'm in conversation, I care about people, and so I don't have to think.
Don't say this.
Don't say.
Like that's like
I was like, oh, don't say it. Okay, I'll stop.
No, like you don't have to think about not saying something.
That's just part of me. Yes, there's times where you'd be like, oh, I shouldn't say that, but generally my actions.
He said,
"You're like, don't say this." I was like, okay, I'm feeling shamed.
No.
But I forgot what we were talking about.
The benefit of having friends that are like also believers. For me, it's like there's no stress about it. Like when I know like I'm
that's a good way of saying it.
I don't actively think, oh, I'm with all of my Christian friends. I don't think that. But like there is like a bit of peace when like the circle that you're with, like the people that you're with are all believers. Like you I don't think I ever think about it, but there's no drama, or there's not usually going to be any kind of drama. There's not going to be any kind of like arguments or
in regards to faith or religion,
especially around like religion and faith and stuff like that. Like you just kind of know like the atmosphere is like it's a completely different atmosphere. You kind of know you're good. But like I also
Oh.
have friends who don't believe, and those hangouts are also great. They're fun-filled times.
Yeah.
I think people think that like when Christians get together, like we sit around reading our Bibles all like that's all we do.
Oh, we just do pray. We pray all the time.
But like
Pray continually.
we
That's what the
like,
word says.
some of my best nights are like people with Chris. Like we be kicking it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
having big old robust laughs, and
Yeah.
it's just
It's true.
No.
But
and-
and we won't even bring up God one time. It's just
One time. Just one time, though.
if you're with Mikaela, yeah, she's bringing it up. But
and I love you
She
for
loves
that.
God.
I
You
love
don't
you for
love
that.
I love
God?
her some Jesus.
I do
And
love
I
Jesus.
appreciate people that do
Yeah.
put that out there. Because you do it in such a gentle way. It's a very loving way. It's not like,
I think it's a gift.
yeah.
I feel like it's something that I've definitely had to learn how to hone in on it, just in a way of like, I'm really just sharing from a personal standpoint. I also just feel like there really has been so much that God has done for me in like a way of like with law school and like getting through like the bar exam. Like there truly have been moments of where my faith has been tested and I've really had to rely on the Lord. And I think the more that happens and the more I see God be faithful, I'm like, what I would be remiss to like not say that the Lord has placed me, like, you know, he helped me get past the bar. He has given me this law firm. Like there's like all these things that's like, if I don't give the glory to God, I don't know that my next promotion is coming.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel sometimes, where it's like, I know that I need to give credit to where credit is due, because I genuinely could not do anything that I feel called to do like without his help. So
No, well, and I'm gonna jump to the last question.
yeah,
real
go
quick,
ahead, because I
'cause
think we're
this is a
running
good
short on time.
transition. I think this is a good time to actually talk about this. It says, what would your life look like without God? And when I was reviewing these notes, I actually teared up when I saw this question, because I think I would be dead. And I know that's a deep thing. I know we just had an episode, but like, I have always steered clear of even the thought of suicide, just because I know God has a better purpose for me, he has things for me. But I do know I've been in that space, and had it not been for my faith, I don't think I'd be here.
Wow.
I wouldn't have my amazing wife. I wouldn't have my kids. And so, I mean, it was weird. Like I saw a question earlier and I'm like, whew, because instantly I was like, I don't think I'd be here. And that's a hard reality. That's me processing things on my own, but God has always been a guiding light in my life in every dark moment. And even when I'm in that dark moment, I do believe that everything happens for a reason. I know people do not like to hear that, but I do believe there is purpose in pain. I just because I'm a Christian doesn't mean I have not had pain. I have had my fair share.
Yeah.
And there have been times where I have been angry at God. And I used to think you can't be angry at God. You cannot. No, you can. You can. You can ask the questions. Like, especially, I mean, just the last few years of losing my brother, my dad, you know, there was lots of other things. But it's like, when will it stop? When do I get to take a breather, God? But I do know to keep pushing, because I'm going to see the plan he has for me. And I've been in those moments where, because a lot of times as Christians, our human instinct takes over. We're like, oh no, God, I got this. You know, you're good. And I start, you start doing things and you're like, I can fix this on my own. I've done that so many times. And then you're finally like, okay, God, do what you may. And when it comes to fruition, it is the coolest thing to witness. And it's not something like in your life to be like, man, that truly was God.
Yeah.
Like
when you reach the end of your own strength and you're like,
and that
God, you're going to have to step in because I literally can't do this.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean you're not going to go through things again, because trust me, it's a cycle. But I will tell you, you learn more each time about your faith, about yourself, about the people around you.
Yeah.
What would you
what would my life look like without him? Bleep. No, I don't. It's weird to think. I truly don't know. Like I know that it would look a lot worse because I know that there have been pivotal moments in my life where I was at a crossroads where I was like, I can go this way or I can go this way. And because of the faith that I have, no matter how big it was or how strong it was at the time, it was there. And it helped me go, let me go this way just because like either out of fear, out of guilt, out of shame, I was steered probably away from a lot of things that could have taken me down. Conviction.
Do you think that guilt, shame, and fear is condemnation?
Probably.
No, it is.
Yeah.
So it's either you were condemned to go into that direction, or it's out of like, because I fear the Lord. I have a healthy like reverence for who God is that I don't want to act like.
But yeah, there have been moments where I was like, I can go
convicted
one way
though, or condemned. Were you condemned to change?
I don't know.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you. I just
because that's like guilt, shame, and fear are not God. Like that's the enemy.
Yeah.
So like when it comes from a place of like, I have a healthy fear of the Lord, I know that like I have a reverence for his power, his, like his gift, the bigness of him on my life.
Yeah. But that fear and that knowledge and wisdom didn't come until honestly, like the last 5, 6, 7 years.
So then for most of your life, you'd say though, like it was
I
out
was
of
afraid.
this. Yeah.
It was out of fear.
Yeah.
But it would just look differently. I'd probably I know I would probably live somewhere else. I'd probably have
mouth would be loose
as all get out. But like, I don't know. Like I like to think about like different points in my life. Where would I be if I chose to like stay in this relationship? Where would I be if I didn't do this activity that night? Where would I be if I didn't do that? Yeah. And those what's that word? There's a little small phrase like anchor points. It's from like the like Marvel movies, like
Easter
like
eggs?
your turning points.
No, it's from like that Across the Spider-Verse moment. Like those big moments that are like
the
term
turn points.
No, it's like the main point in a story. It's like the
climax.
I forget what it's called.
It's a pivot moment.
Yeah,
like you're gonna go one
there
way.
There have been pivotal moments in my story that have been like, if I didn't have God, I don't know where I would have wound up at. So I don't think I would have been like dead. I mean, probably.
I feel like I would like have totally painted my life into like a totally different direction. I know that I would have leaned I would have probably gotten to the law in some regard, but my heart about it would be like totally different.
Yeah.
Like totally disregard for people, don't care, make money.
Like, y'all think I'm a mess now? Like this is me with Jesus.
right.
Half hood, half holy.
Yeah. I'd be a whole. I'd be a problem.
I would be a problem. My mouth was already bad. Thank God for Jesus. I was already super selfish. I feel like all of those things would just amplify and the world would revolve around me and you guys would know it.
Let me just say this.
I
don't say any of these things to make it seem like I'm a great person. I am still pitifully terrible out here. I'm just saying I'm trying to do good and I fail at doing good every single day.
But that's our humanity.
For references, you can just go look at my Kiwi video.
I was gonna say I do actually. I know I already asked this to you, but I am curious because it is a very important to us in our marriage. But does your wife challenge you in your relationship with God, or do you feel like you guys push each other spiritually?
No. To be honest, no. Like, and that's just kind of the reality of where we're at in our marriage right now, and where I'm at with my walk right now. Like, my faith is.
But not even right now. Like throughout your marriage.
There have been points where she's challenged me on some things and like encouraged me to like do some things, but in this season of my life, in this moment, no.
Okay, well, I will ask it more directly throughout your whole marriage. The only reason I ask, because and you're gonna have ebbs and flows, obviously, where you push each other more. But I know that putting Christ, obviously, in the Christian faith, when you marry, you become one with Christ, and so putting Christ at the forefront has always been huge for us. And I know that I was just curious, and I've seen her push you before as well, especially like with the life group and you guys doing that stuff. So I mean, I knew
moments and seasons, but like right when I'm thinking about like right now, no,
I got you. What about you though? Because I know like when you're looking for a partner, and you mentioned it when you were on the dating episode, one of your biggest things is someone who follows Christ. And
I think one thing that I've recognized is like what is a breaking point for me in a relationship is whether or not like we're both living like actively like in surrender to the Lord. Like if there are things in our lives that the Lord tells us to like lay down, like are we both like willing to do that? And I feel like in that it also is like some sense of just like a humility that we're both willing to change if the Lord says change.
yeah,
And I feel like with myself, like that is definitely like a big thing of like,
yeah, you're bonded.
yeah,
I
I'm
know
going
that's-
to, but also like it's more like I fear the Lord and I recognize that you're a child of God and I need to like make sure that if I'm treating you poorly, I feel like you should know that God is going to check me.
Yeah,
And I feel like I want that to be vice versa.
I got you.
How do you feel about that?
Waiting on God to check you. You've been treating me poorly.
Well, if he needs to,
bro, look in the mirror, bro.
if he needs to, I'm always
I'm
willing to like,
kidding. Gosh, this-
truthfully,
I think this
we're
was
not joking today.
No, I appreciate you. When we were talking about like our wanting to do this episode, we're like, hey, we should have Mikaela come and
She
kind of
loves God.
help facilitate. Well, and just
You
help
don't love
facilitate
God?
because you are good at navigating that conversation with us, and so I appreciate you coming out for like
Hey,
what
thanks
your
for
fourth,
having me.
fifth time.
Yep, I'm back. I'm a host. I'm making it, one step further in the podcast. That's how you feel. Tune
So,
in, subscribe,
um,
like, comment, share.
And actually, y'all, in case you didn't know, she is the voice of our next segment.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I feel like I've lost my touch.
No,
Was that good?
yeah, it was still good.
Okay.
Because
But
every time I say it,
I'm
I'm
blessed
like,
by that.
man,
I'm
I can't
honored.
say it like Mikaela.
that's crazy. It needs to be a little more obnoxious.
But then you got to.
It's got to be obnoxious, and then it's the laugh.
You know how we talked about doing
It's
a
pretty
live show one
iconic.
time?
Mhm.
When that happens, we have to have her on the back for that segment. It's time for our weekly segment. She
I-
just pops up.
That's crazy. it's the it's the laugh.
Yeah.
If she's not on the live show, I don't think I want to do it.
Oh
bet.
wow!
Like,
I'm
I mean, the
here,
whole
I'm
show.
here.
Like, the whole show.
We'll talk about it off camera.
every time. We'll see if we actually want to bring her back for that next thing.
So Caleb, what you got this week?
Oh, man. So, okay. This,
Actually, real quick,
hmm.
can you finally tell us the Republican avocado joke?
I feel like he's already received a lot of hate as of late.
Yeah, I'm not about to throw myself back on the grill. No.
First it was kiwis, then it was avocados.
Oh, the Republican avocado joke. That's a good joke.
We'll
by the
save
way.
it for next time.
You know what? We'll do it at the live show. I'll tell that joke at the live show.
Is that coming?
We have to get fans first. We've talked
seriously
about like doing it
considering
in the future whenever like if we ever grow.
Yeah.
When you grow.
When manifesting it.
All right. So this is not crazy, but this is something that just kind of made me laugh. It made me giggle. That's all. I think that's what my new parts are going to be. Just things that made me giggle this week. So I'm at the gym and I'm working out, right? And so the gym that I go to has a big wall of windows, so you can see outside.
What is this, Jim?
Doesn't matter.
Ah!
So
It's purple and it says "Don't slam your weights."
so
I'm a
working
gym
out.
jerk, so there's that.
I'm working out and I see a person who is homeless outside and he's walking towards the way. And I'm like, I happen to notice him and he stops.
A
and
man who
looks-
is experiencing
he's
homelessness.
temporarily displaced.
There we
So,
go. Thank
Apparently
you.
you have to say houseless nowadays.
whatever. So he looks
He is
in the
currently
window. He
experiencing
looks in the
homelessness.
window and I can see that he's looking at the clock. And I'm like, what you want to know what time it is for? It's like 7:30 in the morning. And like he's like trying to look and like
He's probably trying to catch the bus.
and I see like, okay, he's looking, he wants to know the time. What you gotta know the time for? You are homeless. What do you have to do? Like, where do you gotta be? And those thoughts just made me, I started laughing.
You're about to get
hysterically.
canceled again.
I'm not laughing at him for being homeless.
temporarily displaced.
I'm laughing at him
You're
for wanting to know the time. I just
Well,
was,
because-
it made,
I mean,
it
you're
made
just
me
curious.
laugh.
He could have been on his way to a job interview and need to get there on time.
He was
Yeah, I
maybe,
forgive him.
but I don't. I'm
The way he
sure
was presented,
by the.
It just was funny.
Yes, I get
It
it.
made me laugh.
I'm not gonna harp on you like the internet does.
I'm sure the
You know I
internet's
do all the
gonna
time.
roast me for that. How dare he laugh at? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the fact that you needed to know the time made me laugh. I'm sorry. That made me laugh. It tickled me.
No, I get that.
Like,
I get
where
that.
you gotta go? Where you gotta be at right now? Like, it's just what's scared. Because I
You
imagine.
should have went and asked him. Well, not like, why are you looking at the clock?
Hey, what you doing looking at the clock? You ain't got no business
doing
on the time.
What
Well,
you need
should
the
have been
clock
like,
for?
hey, you got somewhere
That's what I thought. Like, where do you have to be? Why do you need to know the time? Like, I'm not. That's not saying that people that are home or whatever you said,
Temporarily displaced.
Houseless.
temporarily displaced. It's
Is that
not
how they have to
saying
say
that they
that,
don't
dude?
need to know the
It's
time.
temporarily displaced
It
or
just-
experiencing homelessness.
I'm gonna stop having a segment because
You never know what's going on in people's lives.
I get that, but we get too complicated.
We
with
get a little
things.
too politically correct.
Yes, because then you feel like you can't say anything.
right. How I'm feeling right now.
No, and I'm not.
Save that for the
This
stand-up.
is the world. I'm not.
No,
really
I
don't-
understand.
I don't want. Yeah.
I've gone to a few stand-up shows lately. And they were like, we're just letting this go.
So
I was
my
like, okay.
my hot take this week.
Okay, hot take.
So my wife and I went on a amazing date night the other night. I would recommend candlelight concerts if you guys ever go to one. It's this one was it's like always around a certain music person, and it's a orchestra quartet, and like it's just candles that light up the room. No lights, the candles light up, and then they play orchestra. It's very peaceful. But I realized that and this made me think, men need to let their pride go sometime. So and the reason why I'm saying this is because particularly in front of us, there was this, clearly they were together. And clearly they were there because of her.
Like she could afford it?
No, like
the date was her idea.
Like it was her
okay,
idea.
Okay.
He, and this was just my opinion, but the whole time he's like this, or he's being obnoxious, just clapping as loud, and she's like, stop. And she's trying to get him to engage, but because it was a Taylor Swift. And so because
the song?
No, the theme was Taylor Swift. So it
Okay.
was her music. So, but because it wasn't his ideal, or maybe, and I'm not projecting what he felt, but also
You are.
But you think about this, but I'm thinking like, you know what? These people around here, they don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Enjoy the time with your girl. Spend that time
got a
and
good
like
heart, Levi.
and fall like.
He really did.
You should start a podcast for men. You need
But
to
I'm
enjoy
serious.
your time with your girl, with your shawty.
But I'm serious.
Shawty's out here
I'm
trying to
tired
enjoy
of-
Taylor Swift.
Right. And just have fun with her. Dance a little. Like
Yeah.
that's what she wants. That's what's gonna light her
Yeah.
Fill
You
her
want
up.
some later?
instead.
Warm the oven.
I wasn't going there, but I mean seriously.
If they were married.
But
This
you
is a
could
Christian
tell like
podcast.
she ain't wrong.
But that's a thing.
No,
I think that guys need to be more sensitive about that.
yeah, and not be so like prideful or ashamed to like. She would have been so, you could tell the whole time she was constantly just trying to get him to
Yeah.
enjoy it a little bit or even act interested.
Can I piggyback off that for a little bit?
Yeah.
So when I see dates and stuff like that, something that also makes me upset
This turns into
On
a
top
dating
of that,
podcast.
is when I see a couple out and the male looks like he's shopping at Walmart. Like
What does that mean? He's looking at other women?
No, what I mean by the way that he is dressed.
Oh.
Women take effort. They put in time and energy
Yeah.
for dates. They put on dresses or skirts. They do their hair. They put on makeup. They put on their special underwear for this night. And dudes
That's crazy.
come out with a wrinkled
Special
t-shirt
underwear.
He's not wrong though.
and
Special
dirty
underwear?
shoes. And I'm like, bro, like you see it all the time. Like
Yeah.
a couple that's out and the dude is just like, he got out of bed with those clothes that he slept in on. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, what
No,
are
I
you
realize
doing?
that,
It's a
that
no
we
for
get
me.
too comfortable with being comfortable. And so, I
That's
mean,
definitely also a Midwest thing.
because I mean, when I went to the
don't
orchestra,
know.
it was a very, it was a fancier event. I didn't dress up. Now I had these pants on and I had like a nice shirt and
Your
but
shirt
I mean,
had a collar.
it was very, no, mine didn't.
You
it
sure?
was, oh, I did have the one. It was like a,
How do I know what you had on?
you saw a picture, it was button. But my thing is I felt like I should have dressed nicer. And I realized to myself, I do this a lot because I like being comfortable. But I also I want to present myself, not just for me, but for my wife too.
Yeah.
Not that I have to dress or don't.
Sometimes
but
she wants to see that.
and also
That warms the oven.
Think about when you watch a rom-com.
Be quiet.
I mean, you see them.
That also warms the oven.
You see them. I'm just gonna keep talking. You see them like go to fancy date nights and they're dressed up and they're enjoying themselves.
Oh, you are a romantic, huh?
I am a hopeless romantic.
I love it.
You know what's funny though? I said society standards earlier, and I was like, why is that there? Because that's not where I'm
really
going.
just men.
But I actually had a rant about society standards. So I'm gonna mention it real quick.
Keep it short.
Yeah, I know. My wife's like killing me. So I will say we have also gotten too comfortable with getting up at any point, especially at church or events. This event was an hour long.
This was at the same concert thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
This event was an hour long. There were multiple people that would get up, and you couldn't just get up and walk around. You had to make the whole row get up in order to get up to go to the bathroom. 1 hour. You couldn't go before you could hold. No.
Oh, okay.
It was young people.
So they were just bored.
Yeah, they actually made an old couple get up. He was like hurting to get up.
Just to
and
add
then one
that
guy
factor
was in the front row.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I think that I'm bad about this, but even at church, since we talked about church, I think we're there for an hour.
Yeah.
Like, why can you not wait?
Yeah.
Do we all have like that syndrome where you have to just pee all the real quick?
I got a little bladder and a tiny urethra.
I think of the Yo Play commercial. She wore an itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini.
What does that have to do?
Oh
with
wait,
that?
no, that was
what does that have to do with anything?
I'm thinking of a different commercial, and I came. Okay,
That's crazy. Okay,
what
so
do you got?
How do you
Get to
feel? I feel like the older that I'm getting, the more like nostalgic. Like Christmas is slowly creeping up on me, like earlier and earlier every year.
Oh yeah.
So I was thinking about Christmas the other day, and I just listened to a Christmas song because I was like, you know what? There's like,
You're late.
oh, September is late.
Yeah.
When did you start listening to Christmas?
All year round.
You listen to Christmas all year round?
I could listen to it.
Now that's crazy. That is crazy. How do you even have like the nostalgia of the holiday coming? I have to do it in bits. I'm kind of strategic about it because I want to still enjoy Christmas when we get to that, like the 2-week period. And if I overdo it, like even the month before, I can't even I'm like, I've already celebrated. Like we've already had Christmas. So I don't know how you do that. I'm just giving myself little bits of joy.
I don't listen to it all year round, but I could.
I'm just like feeding myself to like get myself to Christmas.
I used to decorate like
I'm so excited.
I'll put my tree up before Thanksgiving. That makes my papa mad.
That's what I wanted to ask next. Like, when does your tree go
But
up?
I am about to buy a Christmas
November
tree.
1st. November 1st. We every year. It's
That's kind of I don't know. I think I'm definitely after Thanksgiving.
We have 5 Christmas trees.
My birthday.
And every year we accumulate somehow another one.
Wow.
And so I think
I'm in the market for a good Christmas
my wife's
Let me know if you see
camera,
Christmas trees on sale.
and she just said I got an extra. She said somehow. It's because I buy a new one every year.
If I could have it my way,
Christmas
my
trees.
Christmas tree would go up.
I want
November
every
1.
room to be
November 1st.
That's when if I could have it my way, my tree would be up November 1.
I think maybe I liked it when my mom would like put it up, but wouldn't like decorate it until like just the tree itself. I just am like, my birthday is in the end of November. So I just am like, don't go ahead and like
see. My family knows
Christmas.
if we have Thanksgiving dinner and it's at my house, you better.
Christmas tree is
it's gonna be Christmas.
Yeah, that's kind of
themed.
wild. I couldn't do that.
Oh yeah, I typically do fall like August, sometimes July. No, August, August through October, and then anyways, we really need to
cut it off.
Cut it.
It's been a great time.
So Caleb, what you got for us?
Thanks for watching. Like, what you mean?
Then say it to the camera like you mean it with your chest.
All right. Well, Mikaela, thank you for coming on the show again. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a host. We're gonna see Mikaela real soon. Thank you to Zespri Kiwi brand
for sponsoring
this episode. Really appreciate y'all for doing that. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. We will see you next week.
That's crazy.
Shut up.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, we went long.
It was my fault. My wife always glares at me because she knows it's my fault. It's always my fault.